Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of our retro reviews. And here we have another gatefold cover from Peter Parker's Spider-Man number 83 by Howard Mackie, John Romita Jr., and Scott Hanna. Like I said in the previous video leading up to this book shows Peter Parker having vertigo effects and losing his balance after a Morbius bite in issue 77 that he just hasn't taken care of. So you open with Mary Jane talking to her therapist. Meanwhile, you get this amazing double-page spread by J.R. and Scott Hanna of Peter barely hanging on to the side of a building. So it's dizziness. It's actually, it says the American Heritage English Dictionary describes vertigo as 1A, the sensation of dizziness, B, an instance of such a sensation, 2, a confused, disoriented state of mind. And it said Spider-Man knows that the dictionary doesn't lie. The day began for Peter Parker like any other, late for school, and now he's suffering his latest in a series of bouts of vertigo. And he knows that he's late to this appointment with the therapist, that he and Mary Jane are trying to work on marital issues and relationship issues and things of that nature. But he says, come on, the window's right there. Just climb. Just reach that window. And he says, I can't. I've only had a few bouts of vertigo in my life, and it was mainly involving me not being Spider-Man and being 14 stories up on a building. It's not the getting up the ladder that's the problem. It's the getting back down a whole lot of times. Heights tend to mess with me. So, but Peter, they don't, generally, if he's not dizzy-headed and can't seem to get his bearings. But now you get to see a mystery man who seems to be coming for Peter. And I go back to the therapist with MJ, and it says, do you think his uncle's death was a defining moment in Peter's life? And she says, oh, more than you'd ever know. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I think it's a bad thing. I think it's just that at times, and the therapist says, you would like to see a little more of your husband? And she says, yes, we're young, we're just starting out in life. So you get this therapist who's trying to talk through the anxiety and anger and frustration that Mary Jane is having in the relationship. And meanwhile, speaking of angry, you have the Shocker here, who we haven't seen in quite a while, but he wants to catch up with Peter, and about that time the ledge breaks. And even in the most dire moments, what I think is hilarious about Spidey comics is the fact that he caught a ledge, and here comes the Shocker, who's run down a couple of flights of stairs. He's like, where'd you go? I was trying to talk to you. And he's like, well, what did he say? He said, I didn't exactly walk. He said, you walked out on me. And he said, no, I didn't exactly walk. And he said, don't interrupt, I'm trying to make a point. He said, and he points the blaster, his shock blaster, right there at Spidey's face. And he said, I could kill you right now, but I don't want to. So instead he blasts the ledge. Well, Spidey's already had one ledge collapse out from underneath him. And he says, I just want you to remember, I could have vibrated your bones to powder, but I didn't. And he walks off. And Peter said, gee, thanks. Maybe now just to mend old fences, you could give me a hand, up and inside. Shocker, hello. And as Mary Jane is telling the therapist about the deep love that she has and respect she has for Peter Parker, the man, Peter Parker, the hero, the ledge collapses out from underneath him, and he says, Mary Jane, I love you. So for anybody who doesn't think that Mary Jane and Peter belong together, you've not been reading the comics long enough, or you're just trying to be obstinate, because it's very, very clear that these two love each other, and the characters were written together for each other. So you get a cliffhanger, and Aunt Anna says, hey, is everything okay between you and Peter? And MJ says, oh, I'm sure it's fine. Peter, I'm sure he's hanging around here somewhere. And it shows a strip of his suit at the end, but you don't really know what happened to Peter. That was the other part that I was going to say about when Howard Mackey was writing this series. He was really good at cliffhangers. He was good at what's going to happen in the next issue. So he was on the level right there, right before Robert Kirkman hit that with The Walking Dead, month in and month out. He did that with this book. I would say month in and month out for about 2.5 years or so. So again, you can probably find this book in the dollar bin if you're looking for it, if you've never read it. If you have read it, let me know what you think in the comments below. And let me know in the previous video what you thought about Peter Parker's Spider-Man number 95. That's toward the end of the run, and it is also a very, very significant and exciting and action-packed issue of that title. So thanks guys for checking out these 2 retro review videos, and I look forward to bringing you guys more content very, very soon. Have a great day.